Hey everyone, this is Collapse and Protect, and this is the Rev Arms R4 M4. Now it did pretty well in our first video. It's got just over 300 rounds through it and it performed great. One malfunction, but ammo. So it's a rainy, dreary day in Ohio, and I can't think of a better time to torture test this thing. So we're gonna be putting another 100 shells through the R4 and see how she does. But first I wanna address my only issue from our last video, and that's this bolt release. If you remember, when I press the front of the bolt release, everything functions as it should, and shells start feeding from the magazine tube. But if we use the back of the bolt release, we can see that that little lever doesn't pop out, which means that no shells start feeding from the magazine tube. Now, I thought this was a malfunction. A lot of you said, hey, maybe it's a feature, and that's definitely fair. So I called Rev Arms directly to see what they had to say about it. And the Rev Arms service rep was very pleasant on the phone, so I'm thankful for that. They were very helpful, and they told me that they designed this thing to be pushed only by the front, and that if you pushed it on the back, the bolt most likely wouldn't go into battery. Now, I asked the rep if the symptoms that I was having was a feature or if it was a malfunction, and I didn't really get a direct answer, so we're gonna leave that up to you guys. I'm gonna look at it as a feature. That feature being that if you push the bolt release from the back, now you're able to perform a select load. What I mean by that is pop the shell that's in the chamber out of the chamber. No more shells are going to load from this magazine tube, so you can load some other round that wasn't in your magazine tube into the chamber and fire that. Now that we've got that part out of the way, let's look at the wear that I've noticed since the last test. If you look closely at our shell gate here, you can see a little bit of rust forming, as well as here right before the handguard starts, a little bit of surface rust on the bolt charging handle, as well as a little bit on the trigger here. And I'm going to be very honest with you guys, I have some sweaty hands. So I'm not surprised that the parts of the gun that I touch develop surface rust. That being said, I didn't oil this thing before I put it away, which if you want your firearms to last is definitely something that you should be practicing. So let's load the R4 up, and we're going to start off with our dirt test. And remember here, the R4 hasn't seen any oil, so we're just going to sprinkle this stuff on there, and that's definitely getting into the action. And the only thing we're going to do to this thing before we shoot it is just give it a shake, and let's see if it'll run. Yeah, no problems there. Now, last time when I talked about this ambidextrous charging handle port, a lot of you brought up a fair point. That dirt and debris can now find its way into the receiver through this port. Now, the question is, does that matter? So we've flipped our R4 over, and let's see if we can put some dirt into that port. Maybe it will affect the overall reliability of the R4. Let's sprinkle some more on top here. Oh yeah, it's definitely in there. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but this area has been timbered, and this is all the ground up wood shaving. So that presents a unique challenge to any firearm. All right, well, we're gonna do the same exact thing as before. We're gonna give it a shake and see if she runs. Man, so that just really didn't seem to matter. Let's hit her with some more.
I shoved 4 more handfuls of dirt into this thing and it just kept running. But after those 4 handfuls, we started to have some issues.
Oh, malfunction. Okay, so a round in chamber, and this bolt is getting really sticky here. I think we're gonna help it out, give her a little bit of oil. All right, well, we're not gonna do anything fancy like take this thing apart. We're just gonna do whatever we could do in the field regularly. Ooh, that's a lot. That's a lot. So we're gonna coat this. We're gonna get oil in all the places that it should be. And I know this thing is gonna smoke like crazy after this. That's a lot smoother already. We gotta wipe this thing off because it's just, that's so much oil. All right, let's see if that helps her out any. Let's see if oiling this thing makes it any more reliable after I put it through all that dirt. Oop. Well, seems like we're having some feeding issues now. Let's see if a couple of these law enforcement slugs will cycle. Nope, the extra oomph isn't seeming to matter here. So 5 handfuls of dirt definitely stopped this thing from cycling. Let's see if we can revive it by throwing it in water. All right, well, we're over by the pond. Let's throw her in and see if this helps at all. Ooh, it doesn't look like it's gonna help. It's gonna come out worse than it was. Yep, that's a lot worse than it was. But hey, you never know. Maybe it'll help. Gonna let the water drain a little bit out of there, turn off our safety, and let's see if she runs. Still not cycling correctly. Well, I hate to say it, but that's where we stopped for the day. The pond couldn't save the R4 from its ultimate demise, and I want you guys to understand something. These tests that I'm doing are super unrealistic, and if you get your firearm this dirty in the field, you've failed as a firearm operator. Your gun hasn't failed. With that said, these are good benchmarks to see exactly how much it takes to kill a copy of one of the best semi-automatic shotgun systems ever. So we're gonna go home and clean up the R4, and as long as after the cleanup it functions like it's supposed to, that means it's passed the test. If parts have been bent out of spec, or if something's not working like it should, then that means it hasn't passed the test, and I'll have to send it in for some warranty repairs. All right, well, we're back out at the range. It's all cleaned up now. It's very well lubed. I actually swapped the charging handle to the other side just to see what it feels like, and we're gonna see if this thing still runs. Remember, the point of these torture tests is to kill this gun, make it stop running, and then see if you can perform maintenance on it so that it'll run again. All right, so we've got one in the chamber. Our magazine tube is completely full, so let's see if this thing still runs now that it's cleaned up. Whew. That's way smoother than before. I think cleaning out all that gunk along with the initial packing grease that comes inside of this thing and just using like a regular lubricant, like a motor oil, wow, that is like really, really smooth. It's no surprise the R4 is running like a dream after we cleaned it up. So let's take it through the remaining 100 shells that we were going to put through it if it kept running during the torture test. One thing I noticed right off the bat is after cleaning this thing, its rate of fire improved greatly. So let's see how quick we can pull off these shots and if we can outrun the R4. Nope, I'm not that fast. Wow. All right, well, these are gonna be the last rounds through this R4. After this, we will have put 400 shells through this thing so far. If it makes it through these last few shells, then it's proved itself as a shotgun that I would trust my life to. So good luck, R4. I believe in you. No problem. I can't get over how smooth this thing has got, and it just runs. Guys, this thing is an absolute menace. It just keeps running despite what I throw at it. So cleaning it out, it's good to go. So there you have it. We have 400 shells through the R4 so far, and it's proved itself as a very reliable shotgun. So now what we're gonna do is outfit it like a combat shotgun. And it really doesn't have far to go. We're gonna deal with its neutered magazine tube here and upgrade its capacity. Definitely slam an optic on this guy. Put some kind of a shell carrier on this side. And I'm thinking since it came with a mount for a weapon light, we definitely need to add one of those too. And thanks again to Atlantic Firearms for sending the R4 out so we could be one of the first to test it. If you guys want to pick one of these up, head over that way. Stay tuned for the upgrades video. Until next time, this has been Collapse and Protect. Have fun and be safe.